When you fall asleep, you probably imagine your body doing the same thing your phone does when it hits 1%. Everything powers down, nice and quiet, nothing weird happening, which is unfortunate because that's not even close. Sleep is less rest mode and more overnight maintenance performed by a very damp creature. Things shrink, leak, shed, lock up, and quietly dispose of waste, all while you're gone. It's not pretty, but it's efficient. And technically, it's the reason you wake up at all. Number 1. The brain's nightly toxic waste flush. Sleep feels passive, but the moment you lose consciousness, your brain immediately starts doing chores it politely waits for you to be gone to handle. Specifically, it turns itself into a biological car wash. Not metaphorically, physically. Once you're asleep, your brain activates the glymphatic system, which is a very reassuring name for something that works by shrinking your brain cells by about 60%. They literally pull back, creating space, so cerebrospinal fluid can rush through your skull like a pressure washer, flushing out toxic proteins that built up while you were awake, pretending to be productive. These proteins are basically mental exhaust fumes, and if they're not cleared out, they just sit there, stewing. This is why bad sleep makes you feel foggy, slow, and emotionally fragile over nothing. The trash didn't get taken out. You're walking around with yesterday's brain waste still piled up, trying to remember your password, while your neurons are swimming through leftovers. Deep, uninterrupted sleep is when this cleanup actually finishes. Anything less and your brain just shrugs and does a partial rinse. Which brings us to another system that only works if you're fully offline. Number 2. Chemical paralysis that stops you from acting out dreams. At some point in the night, your body makes the executive decision to turn you off. Not metaphorically, chemically. During deep REM sleep, your brain releases signals that shut down your voluntary muscles almost entirely. This is called REM atonia, and it's the only reason your dreams stay internal. Without it, every weird scenario your subconscious comes up with would be acted out in real time. You don't gently toss and turn. You sprint. You punch. You launch yourself toward imaginary problems with full confidence. So instead, your brainstem disconnects the wiring. You're fully dreaming, but physically useless. Most of the time, it works perfectly. But occasionally, the timing slips. You wake up mentally before the paralysis wears off, leaving you conscious, frozen, and suddenly very aware that something has gone wrong. That panic tends to fill in the blanks with hallucinations, shadow figures, pressure on the chest, the sensation that you are not alone and should have maybe slept better. It's unsettling, but it's still the system doing its job. Just a little late. And while your muscles are shut down, the rest of your body gets busy shedding evidence. Number 3. Skin shedding that turns your bed into an ecosystem. Your bed feels clean because you can't see what you leave behind every night. This is fortunate for everyone involved. While you sleep, your skin switches into regeneration mode. Old cells get pushed out, new ones take their place, and the leftovers come off in bulk. We're talking tens of thousands of skin cells every minute. By morning, you've quietly deposited millions of microscopic flakes into your sheets, pillow, and mattress, like a very personal snowfall. You don't notice, but something does. Dust mites. Tiny, invisible creatures that live in your mattress and consider your dead skin a full-service buffet. They don't bite you. They just hang out, eat, and multiply, thriving in the warm, humid environment you create simply by existing horizontally for 8 hours. Over time, this adds up. Mattresses gain weight. Sheets absorb layers of biological debris. You think you're sleeping alone, but you're actually hosting a nightly ecosystem powered entirely by discarded versions of yourself. Which is also why things start to feel damp. Number 4. Sweat production that prevents internal overheating. Sleeping feels cool and still, which is funny because your body is actively leaking the entire time. Quietly. Persistently. With purpose. As you fall asleep, your core body temperature drops. This isn't accidental. Your body does it to conserve energy and keep internal systems from overheating while you're unconscious. To make that drop happen, excess heat has to go somewhere, so your body releases it the old-fashioned way. Sweat. Not dramatic, visible sweat. Just enough to slowly soak into whatever you're lying on. On an average night, you lose about a cup of fluid this way. It doesn't sound impressive until you remember you do this every night, for years, directly into the same mattress. Over time, that moisture builds up, creating a warm, humid environment that dust mites and fungi find extremely welcoming. The cool side of the pillow isn't fresh. It's just less recently damp. This whole process is doing you a favor. Without it, your organs would overheat and things would get serious. But the side effect is that your bed becomes a slightly fermented sponge, slowly absorbing evidence of your continued survival. Which brings us to a system that cares even less about dignity. Number 5. Gas release when muscle control shuts down. You like to believe you're in control of yourself at all times. Sleep strongly disagrees. During the day, your body relies on voluntary muscle control to manage certain social situations. At night, that control shuts down. Specifically, the internal muscles responsible for holding things in relax. Not fully, just enough. Enough to let pressure escape quietly and efficiently. Lying flat makes it easier. Gravity stops working against trapped gas, and your digestive system takes the opportunity to rebalance itself. This isn't optional. If gas didn't release during sleep, you'd wake up painfully bloated and irritated, which sounds inconvenient, but is apparently unacceptable to your biology. The truly impressive part is that you never notice. Your sense of smell basically powers down during REM sleep. So even if the air quality drops dramatically, your brain doesn't bother waking you up. You sleep peacefully, protected from your own emissions, while anyone else in the room experiences a very different night. It's not malicious, it's just efficient and deeply unfair, which is also true for what's happening around your mouth. Number 6, saliva overflow that protects your mouth. Waking up stuck to your pillow is unpleasant, but it's also a sign things are working, which feels like an excuse, but unfortunately, it's accurate. When you're awake, you swallow constantly without thinking about it. It's how your body manages saliva production. During deep sleep, that reflex relaxes, along with everything else. Saliva keeps getting produced, but now there's less active control over where it goes. If you sleep on your side, gravity steps in and pulls it outward instead of down. This saliva isn't random moisture. It's packed with enzymes and antibodies designed to fight bacteria while you're not brushing, rinsing, or doing anything helpful. It keeps your gums from getting infected, your throat tissues from drying out, and your mouth from turning into a full bacterial free-for-all overnight. If saliva production stopped, your teeth would decay faster and your breath would be aggressively hostile by morning. The drool is gross, yes, but it's also a maintenance system, quietly protecting your mouth while you're unconscious. And while that's happening, something similar is sliding down your throat. Number 7, mucus drainage that feeds you your own waste. If you assume your nose shuts down at night, that's optimistic. It actually gets busier. While you sleep, your nasal passages keep producing mucus, and in many cases, ramp it up. This sticky substance is basically biological flypaper, trapping dust, pollen, bacteria, and whatever else you inhaled during the day. Tiny hairs called cilia line your airways and work in coordinated waves to push that mucus backward toward your throat. Because you're lying flat, gravity helps. The mucus slides down more easily in a process called post-nasal drip. You don't feel it. You don't taste it. You just swallow it. A lot. Roughly a quart of mucus over the course of a day, with a large portion consumed while you're asleep and defenseless. Your stomach handles the rest. It treats this incoming sludge like waste, dumping it into acid strong enough to kill whatever pathogens made the trip. While you're dreaming about food you enjoy, your body is force-feeding you your own filtered debris to keep your lungs clean. It's disgusting. It's efficient, and it's the reason you're not constantly sick. Which brings us to the part you notice first in the morning. Number 8, eye discharge that prevents corneal damage. The first thing you do when you wake up is usually remove evidence. Specifically, the crusty stuff stuck to your eyes. During the day, blinking constantly clears away dust, oil, dead cells, and bacteria. At night, blinking stops. Your eyes are still producing fluids, still collecting debris, but now there's no movement to flush anything out. So your body redirects it all toward the corners of your eyes, where it can safely accumulate. As you sleep, body heat evaporates the liquid, leaving behind a hardened mix of mucus, skin cells, oils, bacteria, and immune cells. It dries into that familiar gritty texture you scrape away without thinking. It's not random. It's concentrated waste. If this didn't happen, that debris would stay loose, floating across your cornea while your eyes move during dreams, scratching delicate tissue. So waking up crusty is actually proof the filtration system worked. Your eyes protected themselves, cleaned house, and left you a small pile of biological ash as confirmation. Do you want me to continue with anything else, or adjust tone, pacing, or detail level? So yeah, sleep looks peaceful from the outside, but it's mostly just your body doing whatever it has to do while you're not around to object. You go to bed thinking you're resting, and wake up surrounded by evidence that something very busy, very damp, and very determined was working the night shift on your behalf. There's something mildly ironic about the fact that the more gross and unglamorous these systems are, the better they're doing their job. Most of the time you don't notice any of it, which is kind of the point, and probably for the best. And it's interesting how that pattern shows up elsewhere too, where things feel fine on the surface, but underneath there's a constant background process trying to keep everything from falling apart. Like how life can feel stressful and exhausting, even when nothing is technically wrong, and you can't quite point to a single cause. That's something worth sitting with for a minute, and maybe continuing the thought from there.